very personal preference. But yeah, Ethan, I clicked record.
All right.
So we're started. Welcome.
I'm ready. You know, a little nervous coming in, but
As all people are. And let me just say, you look amazing in that DOD-Cast hat.
I'm loving it. As soon as I came in, I was like, I gotta get the hat.
Very new purchase. The most recent purchase
Mm-hmm.
is the Ethan Camelio DOD-Cast hat now.
Yes,
How are you
sir.
liking it from first wear?
Honestly, it feels good.
Feels pretty
It
good.
feels really
pretty
good.
comfortable. And I'll say this, it's a little cold down here. That'll keep you warm. It's a warm hat.
You're right. I mean, the one that I brought in had a little mesh, and I'm not gonna lie, I was getting a little bit of a breeze going in there.
Chilly.
So
It's chilly
it's
up there.
blocking everything now.
Now you're just going to be, all the thoughts are going to be contained, warm. You're going to feel great, and you're going to look good doing it.
For sure.
I think it's a great look for you, that hat. But yeah, other than my advertisement for the app, how you doing?
Good. You know, this week's a little bit stressful.
Finals week.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to be able to get anybody on finals week.
Oh, you could have got me like during a final.
I know you wanted to come on. We
was
talked
so
about
excited.
it when, like,
Flag football.
flag
I think
football.
It was like the first game
Wow,
that we
that
had.
was a long time ago. To
Yeah,
be fair,
it
though,
was.
it takes me a long, like, that kid, I just had Andy on,
Mhm.
and I talked to him about it in June. Like, we talked about it in June. It takes me a very
does.
long time.
Do you have like a list that you make of like people that could potentially be on?
I have, like, a mental list, and I sometimes, like, I like to tinker and mess around with all, like, the things going on. So I'll take, like, a page out of a notebook, and I'll just write down, like, everything, like a guest list, a schedule, pseudo schedule.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people have more, like, urgency to be on than others. You know,
I
some people are like,
believe that.
oh, I want to be on before the end of the semester, like, really bad. And I'm like, word, yeah, I'll get you on, sure. And then, like, there's kids like you that are in Lowell that, like, you're very chill. I feel like that's kind of why I hit you up during finals week
Right.
versus anybody else, because I was like, he might do it. Like, he
Oh,
might
yeah,
just do it,
for
you
sure.
know? Because you're just chilling.
Like-
You're either going to do it or you'll do it later. It's not that big of a deal.
Exactly. Initially, I was like, I would want to be on this like as soon as I can,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I'm in no rush. Like, you get your stuff done, and I mean, I feel like I said, like, you're gaining in popularity. So like now that I'm on, I'm like, oh, like this is a perfect time for it.
Yeah, I think it's almost perfect. The only way it could have been better for you is if you were episode 50 and not 49. Because this is 49.
49 is kind of a weird number, but honestly, like right before this half century mark, I'm all
Yeah,
I'm
hey,
all
you're
for
right
it.
around the 50. When someone
Exactly.
clicks on the 50, because, like, you know, like, obviously, like, 1, 25, 50,
Right.
100, those are the things that, like, just kind of stick out.
Yeah.
You're going to be right there.
Right, like you could get the big 50th episode, and I'm just gonna be lurking right under it. At
Yeah, it's
49.
kind of like having a good intro to a great album, something like that. You
Right.
know, it's like you're just a great intro to a great album.
you come
you know?
in and 50th episode, and you look right down. I'm right there, and I'm like, oh, yeah, how you
It's
doing?
like, wow, this episode, wow, it's like, wow, that's his most viewed episode 49 with Ethan, because it was so fire. Like,
Exactly.
that's amazing.
I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah, hey, maybe it will be. Because a lot of people, you know, like, I've noticed, obviously, like, if I post something myself, it only gets so much love because, you know, people are way too nice to me. They do a ton of stuff for me, but, like, they'll only watch so many things just for me
Yeah.
and just out of enjoyment. The big thing is people want to see their friend. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so you're on, your friends are going to watch it. Like, what's the one you were telling me that you watched?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Great guy. Absolutely
Andrew's the
unbelievable
balls.
episode.
Yeah,
He
a
is.
great
He
episode,
really
too.
is.
I actually had, like, I've had multiple people say something about that episode, which is kind of funny.
And I just think it's Andrew's personality. He fits in like so well with like you. You guys meshed so well. Like,
Yeah.
I've listened to that like 3 or 4 times.
Like, how mellow is Andrew, bro? He's so cerebral.
I
so
honestly
good.
like I listened to it with headphones in, and it just was so like soothing listening to him talk, because he's just so like calm and mellow, but everything he talked about was so like interesting.
Yeah, so what exactly interested you on that? If you have anything specifically. If you don't, that's fine.
If I'm gonna be honest with you, there's one thing that I was like, I wish I could relate to this, but I can't, and that was the stocks.
The stocks.
Yes.
The stocks.
Like, I know what it is. I know how it works. My friends actually tried to get me into like Robinhood when that was getting big, and I just, like, I don't know. I never really got into it.
It's a big step.
It is.
It's a lot to tell somebody, to describe it to somebody without all the risk that just has been, like, we just been funneled this idea of just, like, it's either, I feel like this happens with a lot of things. It's a little too deep for a stock conversation, but I'm going to go there. I'm going to do it.
No, do it.
So it's either one thing or another in our, like, society, I feel like. You're either very much this or very much that. You're way over here or way over here. There is no room for middle ground.
Absolutely not.
And I feel like it's just a sad way to look at it, because then you take something like stocks, right? You either think you're going to make a lot of money or that you're going to lose it all.
Right.
That's not true, you know?
I feel like in that case there is a middle ground for it.
There is. And there often is more than you'd think. Like, you know, like politics, for example.
Oof.
I don't feel too politically driven in either direction. I'm just kind of I'll vote for the person I like, like,
right,
as a person.
And that's fair enough.
You know, like, policy aside. But, like, everyone thinks you got to be either this or that.
And I
People
think
are way
that's
more
really
complex.
divided society too.
So divided.
Especially, like, at least in the last, like, presidential election that we had, it's so sad to see how, like, both sides got at each other so much.
It's, like, angry.
Like, we're one country and we're completely divided in half.
It's crazy. And I just wonder, because, like, the thing is, you know, if you feel one way, if you're like, oh, if we were a full-blown, like, say, like, you're a Democrat, full-blown democracy, democratic, like, you know, every president we have is democratic, every seat in the House is democratic, a lot would get done, yeah, but I feel like it's uncontrollable, like, change, and that would be bad. And it's the same thing the other way. So I feel like while it is too anger-driven, and that bothers me, I do feel like at least having both sides means it's working.
Yeah.
Like, that just means, like, you know, there's a reason things aren't happening too fast, or it takes a long time for things to go through. It means it's working. It's checks and balances.
Definitely.
You know, they set this country up pretty baller, if you think about it.
Oh, yes.
They did a good job.
Like, this, hands down, best country in the world.
Hands down.
Like, it's not even a contest anymore.
Because, like, people will be like, oh, like, there's not, like, I've heard people talk about, like, Sweden. I'm like, everyone's white in Sweden.
Right.
That's no fun.
Those are, like, predominantly, like, white countries. And, like, granted, you don't really see a lot going on there, which that's, like, it's interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you look at those, like, Nordic countries, like Sweden, Finland, like, I just feel like there's no, like, diversity
Where's the
there.
culture?
Right.
There's no Chinatown there.
No.
I want to go to Chinatown, you know? I want to go to all these places. I want to go see, like, a town that has, like, a majority population. Obviously, America's still very white.
Right.
But, like, there's so many communities, like, you know, like, even in just my high school, like, I had a pretty diverse high school, I think. And, like, we had, like, Haitian Flag Day, and, like, you know, people were there was enough people to, like, really celebrate Haitian Flag Day.
Right.
And, you know, like, it was pretty cool. Like, you know, you just get to learn a thing or two just by being around different people. And it's more fun. I like fun things. I like, you know, different. I like things that are different. And I like to explore different things, you know. And it's no fun if everyone's the same.
And I can't even relate to that because my school was, I think, like 97% white.
That's crazy to me.
Right.
That's nuts. And we definitely had a lot more majority white kids, but, like, we had plenty of, like, diversity. I feel like, in accordance to, like, where I live, you know, in Massachusetts, we're probably, it's like 80% of Massachusetts white?
Mm-hmm.
Because where are you from?
Around that.
Exactly.
I'm from North Attleboro, which is, like, border of Rhode Island.
So it's white.
Yeah. Like, 2 towns away from Foxborough. Like, that's like a better example because everyone knows Foxborough.
Yeah, so you're an interesting case. You're kind of like my roommate Nick, where you're from here, but you root for the Titans. My friend Nick roots for the Steelers. You root for the Titans.
I do.
I've definitely talked to you about this before, but it was probably freshman year. Why?
So I gotta be honest with you, I tried my absolute best to be a Patriots fan. My mom is a fan, my whole family is, except my dad. My dad has a huge influence on me.
Of course.
And he was the one person, he was a Titans fan. Only one in his side of the family too. So
why? How?
He honestly never told me. I don't know if
you
it was
gotta
just like
figure out your origins.
right, like as a kid, like I think he just like started taking a liking to them, and obviously like they were the Houston Oilers before the Titans, and then it got to the point where they became the Titans, and I think he became a little more invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because you're at the bottom. You're coming in at, like, you know.
right, but like around the time that they became the Titans, like their first year as the Titans, they made it to the Super Bowl. You know,
So they were
lost
good.
by a yard. Funny story actually. He was watching the game, obviously diehard fan. He still is. They lost by obviously like the reach of the football, didn't get to the end zone. He locked himself in a room for like 2 hours. My mom said, and I believe it. Like knowing myself, I would probably do the same thing.
You know, you lose by a yard. You lose by a stretch. You know,
Right, like how could you not? Like how could you not be super upset about
like
that?
I can't, like, you know, we think about those Seahawks fans. You know, that interception was.
See,
Just,
I love that. Like
I love that.
people think like, yeah, the Titans are my number one team, that I'm automatically gonna hold a grudge towards the Patriots, which is absolutely false. I love the Patriots.
That's good.
Like
to know.
they're still my second team, and I mean I don't want to be like a bandwagon, I guess, but like how could I not be a Pats fan if everyone around me is a Patriots
You get a
fan?
pass since you live here, and everyone around you is a Pats fan for sure. It's not like you're like some dude in like Cali that like roots for the Niners and then like on weekends roots for the Pats because the Pats are nice.
Are like good, yeah. And I mean, to go back a little bit, like I really don't know why I'm a Titans fan. Like obviously my dad, he basically would be like, "Oh, we're gonna watch this game today. Like, do you want to watch with me?" And obviously a 6 or 7-year-old me is like, "Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
I want to be like my dad."
Yeah, as we all
And
do.
I remember, I think I was in second grade. Was the year that the Pats beat the Titans 59 nothing
Jesus
in that
Christ.
snow game,
Oh,
where
yeah.
Brady threw to Moss for 4 touchdowns in like the first half.
Good memory.
Yeah, fantastic. I remember going into this like to my elementary school the next day, and like all the kids just started laughing at me, and like second grade me's like, why are they all laughing at me? Like, is it really that big of a deal? Like the more I look back on it, I'm like, wow, I was really that kid.
Yeah, I was
Like,
that kid. I was the
one-
Titans fan.
I was the one kid in my entire class that liked some random team that, to be honest, wasn't bad back in second grade.
No.
But it got to the point where, like, middle school, they're going through their 2-14, 3-13 years.
Mariota coming in.
And he, honestly, like, that first game that he played, I think they dropped, like, 56.
I thought it was going to be nasty.
Right.
I thought Mariota was going to be good. I was annoyed because I didn't like him.
Right.
But I was like, he's just going to be good.
And he ends up crapping the bed.
Yeah, Corey Davis.
See, that pick still confuses me to this day. Like, you have a, like, low conference college football team that he plays for, has outstanding season, and like granted he's good. He
Yeah, he's
deserved
alright.
the money that he got from the Jets.
Yeah, he's all right.
But at 5, you
Who
could.
was the other receiver that you guys had? I'm trying to think of who else was there.
Like during the time.
During that time.
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it was Eric Decker.
Eric Decker.
Because that rookie year was the year we beat the Chiefs in the first round, where Mariota threw the touchdown to himself.
Wow.
And we came into Gillette and got our shit rocked.
You got a good memory there, dude. You have a really good memory over
that's
there.
the thing with sports, is like they stick with me, especially my teams. But yeah, I still to this day don't know why they picked Corey Davis. They had 2 picks in the first round. I think it was 5 and it was a high teen, either 18 or 19. And I told myself, I was like, you could have got that fool at 18, and you could have picked like, who's in that draft? Jamal Adams. He went at 6. Granted, he's not very good either.
Yeah, but you could have at least. It would have been better than picking Davis at 5.
Especially for someone that didn't sign a second contract.
Yeah. What's his name? But you know, prospects. You guys looked really good. To start
yeah.
To see. Derrick Henry is maybe the best runner of a football ever.
You think so?
Maybe.
I mean, I
not
look
yet
at
because he's
no,
it's
definitely
been
not
it's
yet.
not has been a long enough time.
You
Longevity
look at
means
the
something,
talent, in the NFL now compared to like when Jim Brown was playing or Walter Payton. And you look at that and I see, like, yeah, there's a potential that he could be the best running back ever. But just right now, I mean, obviously he's hurt. But he would have broke the record this year.
Easily.
The amount of attempts that he was getting per game, he had 900-plus yards in 6 games.
He's still top 5, isn't he, in yards?
3. I believe he's still number 3. Which is
Like, that's
unbelievable.
silly. That's nonsense.
It's unbelievable.
He's been out for, what, 4 or 5 weeks now?
Yeah.
That's insane.
And he's still 3rd in the league in carries, too.
That is weird.
And they're saying he's on pace to come back on the early side. Like,
really?
he's not. They could potentially come back, they said, for their January 2nd game.
Wow. He's an animal. He's so weird. Like, he's so good.
He's different.
It's just, they could just keep giving it to him. And it's just,
and he
they
just
know,
doesn't slow
like,
down.
the other teams know.
Like, he gets better as the game goes on, which
I
is
love those
unbelievable.
guys. I love those guys. Nick Chubb, too.
Yeah.
Guys that just can run and then run and then run, and it just doesn't stop.
And they don't stop.
And
ever.
they keep getting better. Legs churning type guys.
Right.
I love those
And
runners.
as much as I hate to say it, I don't like the Colts, but Jonathan Taylor
is a dog,
my
too.
goodness.
It's that same feeling I had of Derrick Henry. Honestly, I had the same exact feelings about him and Derrick Henry because they're big and they're fast. And I was just like, he just isn't going to be that good. That's what I thought in my mind. I was like, listen, he's just going to, like, because it takes a certain team, too, to, like, unlock that type of guy.
I mean, with the old line that the Colts have, too, you kind of had a feeling that one of those running backs that the Colts have are going to break out.
Yeah, someone had to have a great season at some point because
they didn't even start him last year.
Like Naheem Hines was like in the Marlon Mack,
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
But I don't know, man. He's a dog too. There's some really good running backs, but running backs are weird because like they shine and fade so fast.
Yeah, shortest careers I think out of
sure.
the majority.
Like Marshawn Lynch was like 30 when he retired.
Yeah,
first time.
Yeah, then he came back and he just still wasn't the same that he was.
Adrian Peterson's like trying to get a job. He got but maybe he's on the Seahawks now, right?
I believe so.
Like he's
Unless
just
they
bouncing
dropped
around.
him again. I don't know.
Yeah, I know
you look at AP. I mean, unbelievable at the beginning of his career. There's no one like him.
He might be the most talented.
I could get behind that. I mean,
if you want one game, you could pick any guy through any point in their career. You might pick peak Adrian Peterson.
Oh yeah,
one game.
No doubt. I mean, maybe Barry Sanders, but Barry Sanders played, I think, like 6 seasons or something like that.
Yeah, he didn't play too long.
I mean, these running backs that are so good, they're done within like 5 to 7 years, and it's.
It is a beating.
Yeah.
It's a beating, and like like a guy like Derrick Henry, like even just the amount of, he's 3rd in the league in carries right now.
Still.
That's gross. Like the guy
he's played half the less games.
Toting the rock 30 times a game. Like, dude, that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
And like on your body, it's a lot of stress on your body. And Grant, he's fucking huge.
But some of these guys that you're playing are bigger.
Like if Calais Campbell hits him, Campbell's like 6'8", 350 pounds. Like
there are some guys that are monsters. Like, if I saw Myles Garrett running at me, I'd probably just fall to my knees.
I'd quiver. I would shake.
I'd be done.
Fight or flight, neither of them would kick in. I think I'd just disintegrate on the spot. It looked like Infinity War. I just disintegrate straight up.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Infinity War.
Here's my thing, dude. I think I talked about Infinity War like a couple weeks ago, and like I was in like an Xbox party or something.
Yeah.
And I talked about Infinity War, and I was talking about how like Spider-Man disintegrated, and someone was like, "You spoiled that for me." I'm like, "Bro, you haven't watched that
have you not
yet?
watched it?
And you're still acting like I'm spoiling it?"
I feel like it doesn't really count as a spoiler if one of the biggest movies of all time has been out for over 4 years now.
And there's already another one that solves that issue for you.
So I can't really be a spoiler.
And my thing is, like, the reason why, I guess this is why he was shocked, right? This is why he was shocked. He hadn't watched those, but he saw these Spider-Man trailers. So he was really he thought I was lying. He was really fucking confused. And I'm like, dude, watch the movie.
That's
or
such a
don't
huge
care.
Gap,
Or don't care.
Right.
That's, like, if you haven't watched it, fine. Whatever. Don't care.
It is what it is.
Then don't care. Why am I getting any flack for this? Like,
exactly.
I didn't even acknowledge it. I just kept I just kept
I would have
talking.
just kept talking.
I was like, wow. You know, like sometimes your friends say things and you're just like, there's no way I'm not friends with this kid.
It's just myself, big Marvel guy.
So
I
am
have been for so long.
Mhm.
Very excited for Spider-Man.
Friday, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm actually watching all of them right now. I finished the Toby series last night. Probably gonna watch Andrew tonight, and then I mean maybe I'll watch Tom. I don't know, but it's just everything that like Marvel has come to. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you look at Iron Man, and now you come to where we are now. Like who would have thought that?
Yeah, that's what me and my roommate Nick had never watched them. Like, he just watched like the big ones, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, that's whatever. That's not fun though. You gotta watch them all.
There's plot holes.
There's so many plot holes. Like, you know, things happen. You're like, and, you know, you don't see the reaction that you're looking for. Like, you don't get the reaction that they really are intending because you didn't watch them all. And granted, there's like, oh my goodness, probably like 100 hours of content that they've pushed out.
Oh yeah.
Something like that. 2-hour movies, 3-hour movies at some points, and then all the TV shows now. Hawkeye's coming out.
I'm a little bit behind on that.
I haven't watched Hawkeye yet.
I'm waiting
until it's fully out.
That's smart. I was considering doing that just because I'm already behind as it is.
Yeah, makes sense. But we're watching right now. We just got to Guardians of the Galaxy. Just watched that. So good, as they all are. And we're like, that's like 9 through. There's no like 15 movies to go.
And I mean, even like you look at some of these movies, like there are some that are way better than other ones.
Yeah. But like Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, is great. We love
But like you look at like what's a commonly like known bad, like Thor: Dark World.
Dark World, yeah.
That's not even like a terrible movie.
It's really not.
But people consider that bad. That just shows you how good that these movies have gotten throughout like time. And like I said, you look at Iron Man. Like, who would have thought you would have got to this point?
I was looking at it, and I watched a thing today and they said that Robert Downey Jr. like improvised saying "I am Iron Man" at the end of that. Like, Genius. He improvised it. Genius. And they loved it, and they retaked it, and they ran with it because they were like, and I think that was kind of key, is moving away, because a lot of all these superhero movies, up to this point, a massive part of every single one is hiding the identity.
Oh yeah.
Of every single superhero movie, hiding the identity, and then I'm so sorry about that. That was fucking weird. I just had a seizure. Hiding the identity, like the female interest, like it's all about like Superman, like he's Clark Kent,
but like
Lois
nobody
Lane,
knows. Like,
no one knows, and he's got to save her, like kryptonite. It's just so corny,
Yeah.
They went a complete different direction. They just made the movies. Like, good. Made a good movie, and it just so happened to have superheroes in it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what made him different.
And I honestly think, like, with the whole, like, concealing, like, your identity type of thing, like, people knew Tony Stark was Iron Man after the first, like, one. But, like, you look at some of these, like, other, like, Spider-Man, watching it with, like, Andrew Garfield, like, MJ doesn't find out until the second movie, at the end of the second movie. And personally, like, as much as like that was like a like she knows now, right? I like that like other people know who like their real identity is.
Yes,
and
it
like
makes it interesting, it makes it fun.
It does.
What I mean, it's like everyone's involved,
right? And that's what I personally think how Marvel makes much better movies and shows than DC.
Yeah, because they just throw it. They just do like everything's like. It's contrived, because then like when you have everything on the table, if everyone knows who you are, everything's on the table.
Right.
You can't hide. You know what I mean? Kind of like in Iron Man, I forget which one, but he literally like I think it's the second one, with the Mandarin. No, that's the third one. He was like, give him my address, like he can come to me, and he does.
And he does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, boy, does he.
And right.
Just blows up the whole place.
They come to the house and like it leaves it all on the table. It's not like he's hiding. And it's like, oh, he can't do this because then they'll find out. Or he can't do this because then people will find out. Like, he can't ask her for help because that's what he needs to do the most. But, nah, fuck that.
No.
Everything's on the table.
Right.
It's all out there.
And that's what makes it more fun.
So much more fun. There's so many more options.
Exactly.
We've seen that other shit a million times, I feel like. And it's okay for something, like, obviously, Spider-Man and this Spider-Man.
Like, I don't mind in Spider-Man. Spider-Man's just such an iconic character where, like, if you conceal the identity that he's Peter Parker for 2 movies like they did.
Like you need to for Superman too, like
Jeez,
another
I
Superman
keep
movie.
Smoking this thing. That's
Sorry.
my bad.
Like a Superman movie though, like a big part of it is the Clark Kent like alias. Like
Exactly.
I'm not saying you can't do it or you shouldn't, but for a character like Iron Man, where the audience probably wasn't too associated with him, like no one really knew.
Definitely not.
They aren't even the biggest. They're like probably like the third biggest thing in Marvel before the movies came out.
Right.
Like X-Men were bigger. And
X-Men
Fantastic
already
Four.
had like 2 movies out by 2008 when Iron Man came out.
And then Fantastic Four are bigger. But they kind of have more freedom with these guys too. And I think that'd be another thing that DC should explore as well.
Right. And I look at like the DC movies, like you look at Batman vs Superman. I don't think they've released a good movie since the Christian Bale Batmans.
No, they haven't. You're right.
Because I watched
Suicide Squad. Did you watch the recent one?
I did. I watched both of them.
The
The most recent one though was hilarious.
I loved that.
It was really funny.
That was fucking great.
It was good though. I
thought it was
enjoyed
hilarious. I like laughing, so I was cool.
Yeah,
with it.
exactly.
Didn't
yeah.
have to be too serious.
They did a good job with that.
They did.
But like I look at like the Snyder Cut. Did you end up ever watching that?
I did watch it.
4 hours.
That's a long time.
And it granted, like, if there was ever a director's cut for Endgame, like they were potentially gonna do, they said that was gonna be like 6 hours. I would watch it.
I would too. No question.
I would watch it.
And I'd watch it in one sitting, and I wouldn't feel bad about it.
And like I look at that 4-hour movie, and it wasn't that good.
Mm-mm.
It was basically the same movie from the start, like the original like Justice League. I don't know when that came out, but they added a few bits and pieces that, granted, made it good.
Made it better.
But
you know,
I think personally the end of that movie, I forget what it's called, but it's basically the whole Batman dream where Darkseid comes and kills Lois Lane, and it's like the only way you get her back is if Superman like joins me. Like that was cool. I have to admit, like if that were to ever become a movie, I would watch it. Like willingly, I would watch it.
And the thing is, I'll watch them. Like I'll watch these movies because I'm just a sucker for superheroes.
Right.
But I would have no confidence that someone that doesn't like superheroes would watch those. Whereas my sister does not like superheroes. I literally recommended, and we sat down and watched the first Captain America, and she fucking loved it. Because it's a good movie. And they're good actors, and they're likable, and they're good characters. And, like, it's not about them being a superhero.
No,
they
not
just
at all.
are in the movie. They just so happen to be superheroes. Even, like, Captain America specifically is obviously the least superhero-y one because he's so, like, human.
It's like he's man-made, basically.
He's just like an experiment. Like that could be like, you know, anybody could watch that. It could be like a fucking Disney Channel. Theme. Like, oh, we made a super guy, like, you know, super.
And he fights bad people.
Like it's very common. It's nothing too crazy. There's not a lot of suspension of disbelief in that one, so it's an easy one to show to people. But like Batman is so like a hero. It's like you have to like superheroes in order to like Batman.
Right.
Whereas like the Marvel movies aren't like that.
No.
Because that's why they bring all these like weird, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Who had heard of those before?
No one.
Unless you were a comic book fan, like you hadn't heard.
Right, and I'm gonna be honest. As much as I like Marvel, I was never a big comic book guy.
Me neither.
Like looking at Guardians of the Galaxy, like when it came out, I was like, who are these? Like who are these people?
The Eternals that just came out.
I haven't even seen.
Who
it
are?
yet.
I just watched it recently.
I usually see them the weekend it comes out. I just didn't really have any
I'll say
interest.
this, Ethan. That one was actually not good.
Eternals?
It should have been a Disney Plus series.
I heard it was very ambitious.
Because I'll tell you this, if it was a Disney Plus series, it'd be the best one they have. But
what did they do? They like explore every single Eternal, right?
Every single one of them.
And
there's like 9 of them. Like, dude, we don't got fucking time for that.
No.
We don't got time. In one movie, they explore all that. They had some really cool concepts in it. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but they had some really cool concepts in it that could have been very well explored. The Celestials are very interesting. They're going to play a very key part going forward. They explained it as best they could, but that's how I felt about everything. They explained everything as best they could for the time that they had.
Yeah.
But just make it a Disney Plus series. Give each character its own episode. The main villain thing, its own episode. The Celestials, its own episode. You could have literally made like a 10 episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's like a 10, 11 part season right there.
And I think it would have been much better. Like, much, much better. Plus, these actors, is like, obviously they had like Jon Snow was in it. Not Jon, like, obviously from Game of Thrones. I don't know the actor's name.
Kit Harington.
and so is his brother in the show.
Oh, really?
Like, not like his brother, but Rob Stark from Game of Thrones.
Yep.
He's also
in it too. Yep.
which is cool.
It's kind of dope that they all came together right there.
Yeah, it is. They had a scene actually. It was pretty funny. It's pretty early, so it's not even funny. But like they like meet, and like I think the directors very intentionally put them in the same frame and had them meeting each other, and like they were like, "Hi, like who are you?" You know what I mean? Like, and I think that was cool for me because I'm also like Game of Thrones.
Big Game of Thrones. Wow. I mean, honestly, we can roll right on with this. Like I love Game of Thrones. Exactly.
I still have to finish the last 2 seasons. So I'm 6 seasons through.
Well, I apologize in advance for season 8.
That's what I've been hearing, and it makes me sad.
I mean,
I've heard a lot.
Not that I'm going to spoil it, but the Battle of Winterfell, fantastic. So many like plot twists in that. But right after, I mean, the season just right down the drain.
Down the drain. That's a shame,
They could have
too.
done so much better, and it's so disappointing.
Because I heard it was planned for 12 seasons, basically.
Yes.
And they had to chop it all down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically kind of what I felt about the Eternals. That's why I didn't like the Eternals, because I felt like it was a long concept cut down.
Just cut down, yeah.
And you can't do that. You can't do that. Not in these, like you got the resources, you know?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
got the time. Everyone watches this fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, they're missing out, and they know they're missing out, you know?
Right, and like I understand like why they cut stuff. Like you have a budget, money, money.
Money.
Like I saw a thing a couple weeks ago that they made like a prequel series that they were planning on doing for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I saw that.
They made the pilot, and it was like $30 million, and they cut it.
Oh.
They cut the whole show. They filmed the whole pilot, dropped 30 mil, and then cut the whole show.
That bad, huh? Did people watch it? Like, is it like
no,
available?
it wasn't. It didn't even come out. Like,
They just made the
it was just
pilot.
a film. Like they filmed it and said, "Fuck it," and
It's
just cut
so bad that they cut it. They cut their losses at $30 million.
it. And it's just like that ability to spend that much money to just throw it all away. That's crazy.
Money's weird.
It
Because, like, there's so much. Like, why can't I just get $1 million? Like,
Right.
that honestly is what gives me the most hope that I could be a successful human one day. There's so much money just being tossed around all the time. Why can't I get $1 million? Because $1 million, honestly, isn't much.
No,
And
definitely not.
like in accordance to how much is actually being tossed
Right,
around.
and like you think about it right now, we're college students.
Mm-hmm.
Like, probably have between like maybe $5K to like $20K saved up.
Yeah.
And you think of like $1 million would be so great.
Be dope.
But in the end, it's really not that much.
A house. Like, that's a house.
That's literally like
That's a home.
a huge house.
It's a
And
nice
that's
house.
It's a really
Great
nice house. Definitely.
But it's a house. Everyone's got a house. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Well, not everyone, but like most people watching this have a house.
Right.
You know, you have a house out there. You have a house. So it's really what it gets you is a house with, obviously it would take away a lot of the payments. It helps a ton, but you need a constant stream of income then as opposed to a lump sum of money.
Like if you get a huge chunk of cash, like $1 million, if you spend that on like one big thing and you're not making any money, that's going to go away so much faster than you think.
For sure. I don't know why. I got the urge. Like, if I got $1 million, like, I know my finances enough. I think I'd be able to make something out of it.
Yes, definitely.
And honestly, one of the first things I do is open a bowling alley, and I don't know why. I don't even like bowling.
Just a
like
bowling
that.
alley.
I just want a bowling alley. I want to live above a bowling alley. I want to hear the. I feel like that shit would be fucking comedy. Record above a bowling alley. I want a bowling alley.
That's honestly, I like it.
It'd be
honestly,
cool.
As like off guard as that like got me.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Like, it's like, hey, you want to come over? Yeah. Where do you live? You know the bowling alley? Like
right down the
road?
street. Yeah.
That's mine. You come over. We'll bowl. We'll have pizza. Imagine you can just bowl.
Whenever you want.
It's so casual. It's such a casual
honestly,
event.
like you could have a bunch of people over to your bowling alley and just do whatever you want. You could bowl.
People like to bowl, so you'd make money, I think. I don't think bowling will ever go away. Bowling's been around for a long time.
It's one of those things where, like, it's such, like, a casual, like, take someone on a date, go bowling, you know, take your family there.
For sure.
It's something where everyone can have fun, even if you're trash.
You know what I'd do? I'd add something to bowling, though. I'd add a bunch of stuff to bowling. Because bowling... It it serves its purpose. It is how it is. It is a sport. For some people, it's a very legit sport.
It's a pretty bland game, you know.
Let's add like a curve. You know, let's put a curve in the system. Let's involve like different types of balls and different types of pins, and maybe one is a little higher and you gotta throw it. I don't know. Let's change bowling. Let's change bowling for good. Let's add like a ramp. And you gotta bowl it up the ramp, so you gotta fucking fire that thing. Like, you know, like no grandma. There is no fucking push, and it will roll down for grandma.
You gotta whip that thing
down
the lane.
You gotta fucking whip it.
All right.
20 miles an hour.
I would be all for that.
I think that you just gotta add some more fun to bowling, and it could be a big thing.
Like, I look at, there's a bowling alley in my town. Very popular. A lot of towns near me go to it. It's, obviously there's two different types of bowling. You have, like, the candle pin, where it's, like, the small bowling balls. But the one near my place... like the huge ones.
You need the big balls.
Right. And it's way more fun, and like they spice it up. Like they turn the lights off, get like the disco lights going.
Yeah.
And like I like that,
Awesome.
but like if you were to add more stuff to it, like you said, like I don't know. Say you do have the small candle pin balls for the huge pins. Like you just got to whip that thing down the lane. And like I honestly like I would find that a little more enjoyable than just every one or two people you go down and bowl.
Yeah, like
you know
in the
what I
end,
mean?
like you go, you get up, you roll a ball, it goes, and then they all collapse.
That's
whatever.
all it is.
You know, whatever. That's
yeah,
cool.
2 turns and you're done.
But like basketball, I feel like we've explored a lot of things. Like, you ever seen trampoline basketball? Dude,
no, I have
you've
actually.
seen these clips on like.
Oh my god! And like
so
the people
fucking
getting
fun.
dunked on and stuff.
It
like,
looks
it looks
awesome.
unbelievable.
And we've explored stuff like that. Like I had this one idea. It was like glow in the dark basketball, where like everyone wears wrist things, jerseys, like headbands. You have to wear these things because it's the only things that light up. It's glow in the dark. The ball glows in the dark. The rim, the lines on the court. But otherwise, like you really can't see shit. Like so you just kind of have to throw it to like where the person like it might be. You know, you can kind of see like obviously like you'd be able to play the game normally. It's just in the fucking dark.
Yeah, I feel like it would be pretty tough to call like legit fouls and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
no,
honestly, I like that would be fun.
That's fine. And I think that there's plenty of things like that, like the sky zone, like dunk thing.
Yeah.
Like there's different ways you can mess around with basketball. There's different games you can play. Like you can do 5-on-5. You can do like horse. You can do like all these things, 21, whatever. Bowling is bowling. You know?
Yeah, there's really no other way to put it.
So let's add. Let's make different sets. Why is it always got to be the triangle?
Right.
Why can't I just have... I want to set up the 7-10 split. And if someone can hit that, then
they win money.
You win. You win money. You know? Like
I mean, that's how hard that is, though. I mean, you just got to basically get it perfect for it to fly across.
Did you watch Sweet Life of Zack and Cody as a kid?
I did.
Did you watch the episode where Arwen hit the 7-10 split?
Right, but he's a dirty bowler anyway. I'm pretty, right? Isn't he? He's pretty good at bowling in the show.
He's nasty.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
what I
funny the way
thought.
you said it. It's just you're like, no, but he's nasty, so it doesn't really matter. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think even for like a nasty bowler, I think it's still very
pretty
hard,
big deal.
right?
I mean, how wide is like a lane? It's got to be at
you
least
need to
like
hit it like perfectly.
perfect for the other pin to fly
for the
across.
one to fly across. I think that. If someone can bowl really well, it's an interesting talent. You know?
I honestly, I'd consider that a flex. If you're nice at bowling, like
what do you consider nice at bowling?
like if you can bowl it and the ball like curves around like the gutter and you just get a strike every time.
Like you're nice.
Yeah, like you're good.
I remember I got decent. I got pretty good at bowling for a little bit. Obviously, I never learned like the fucking like the spin shit.
Right.
Because who's got time for that?
Bowlers?
But bowlers. Bowlers. Me, if I had a bowling alley, I'd have time for that. But casually, nah. I was going there, and I think I put up 200 one time. 200.
Really?
Yeah, and I felt really good.
Wow. No, that's
like 7
that's
strikes
nice.
out of the 10. again, very inconsistent because I don't know like the fucking voodoo magic. But dude, like these people, like they know like exactly where to hit the fucking pin.
I
Like,
know.
I saw a guy next to me once, like he went like I think 9 in a row, and he had like 230 points. I was like, and the difference between like 230 and 200 is like massive.
Oh, definitely.
It's like a whole like streak. Like it's like you have to have like instead of 7 strikes in a row or like 5. I had like 4 and then 3.
Like 3 later, yeah.
But like, imagine just having 9 in a row.
Right, and honestly, like, I think the most I've ever gotten in bowling is like high 130s.
Yeah.
Like I've never, still, this is gonna be weird, but I still think a life goal of mine is to bowl a turkey.
Never done it. Three strikes in a row.
Never done it. I've gotten 2, and then like 3 or 4 times I've gotten 9 on the third one, and I freak out.
My friends are good bowlers. My friends are talented people, I guess. My friends are good bowlers, and most of them, and they'll like, they do that. Like they get them 3 strikes in a row. Like my friend Alex Milas, if you're watching, I'm still better than you. Like he could bowl a turkey. He could very well bowl a turkey, and then like I'd have to match that, or else he talks shit. And like I don't really realize, like I was always saying, like we'd go bowling with like my basketball team when I was in high school, and we'd do really good. And I was like, we might be a better bowling team than basketball team, because like, do you ever wonder that like you and your friends will do something, or you'll do something, or like maybe like your friends or you guys like all laugh and you think someone's really funny, you're like, dude, are we like really funny, or are we only funny to ourselves?
Oh, I think that all the time.
That's kind of what this podcast is an experiment of. I'm like, am I actually funny? Am I good to talk to?
Yeah, you're on a roll right now. I mean, we're talking about bowling, so.
You're on a roll.
I mean, but that's the thing with bowling. Like, you look at all these sports that are like electric. You got hockey, football, even basketball. It's pretty like someone hits a 3 at the buzzer, the crowd erupts.
Yeah.
But like bowling, like. I think I've only ever seen like one video where like the crowd actually like, that Pete Weber video, and he's like, who do you think you are? I am.
That's money.
Oh my god, that's like, to me I was like, all right, like that's pretty electric. But everything else, like, they're just, not that I'm degrading to bowlers, but they're chumps. They're just they're like these huge guys, like, and they're just sick at bowling. And like
I feel like there's because in the end bowling, it's just like, well, maybe I'm wrong, but it's like who can get the most strikes, who
that's what it is.
It's basically, it's just who gets more points, and like maybe I'm thinking of it too simply, but like in basketball there's defense. You can get a steal. I don't even consider bowling a sport, maybe, because I think in my definition of sport, you need to have impact.
Right, and I feel like that makes
times.
bowling like a hobby more than a sport.
Too. Like cornhole's a sport, low key.
Yes, definitely.
You can set up your
defense.
bags and play D. But cheerleading's not a sport. You can't defend. From my definition of sport, you can't defend.
No, I can get behind that, but I also think of like, what if they fuck up like a stunt or something like that, and like someone falls? Like, you got to play defense for the girl to hit before the girl.
I guess
hits
you're
the
defending
ground.
your own team from dying, maybe. But I think of it more as like, if I can't impact the other person's results, but maybe that's a bad definition, because like gymnastics, like a U.S. Olympic sport, like,
right? Like
you can't defend that.
No,
like Simone Biles is just gonna go do 14 backflips in the air at once, and then like she's just
right,
gonna
and she
win.
gets a gold medal, and like,
and then everybody else is sad.
Exactly. See, that's what's tough. Like,
but is there another word?
I don't want to anger anyone. Like,
I know I don't want to anger. If I say something's not a
population,
sport,
like,
I feel like it's a very casual thing to say. Like, oh, it's not a sport. That's like a bad thing. Like, it's
we mean no harm.
I mean no harm. Like, I love to bowl. Like, in gymnastics, it's probably my favorite Olympic event. Oddly enough.
Oh, they're so good.
They're so good, and it's the only time I watch it. It's cool. Track, like I like shit like that. But
track's not fun to do.
I don't know if I feel like they're like sports.
I get what you're saying, and I
wish there was another word.
Right.
I wish there was another word. Like, I guess competition is just what I'd leave it as.
Yeah.
It's a competition.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it.
Because I feel like, and because like, just saying it's not a sport isn't a bad thing. You know what else isn't a sport? Doing a podcast is not a sport. No. It's not a bad thing.
No.
Doesn't matter if someone's a sport or not. I'm just saying, like, by my definition. But then again, maybe my definition doesn't matter, and I should just go look at a dictionary and, like,
Right.
and
I
figure
mean,
it out.
if it's in there, then, I mean, I guess you're proven wrong or you're proven right. Like, that's what it is.
And I don't got a problem being wrong. People got a big problem being wrong nowadays. Actually, no, I do have a problem being wrong. I'm not going to say I'm, like, not stubborn, because I definitely am. But, like, people got to learn how to be wrong.
Oh, yeah. I feel like there are people that if you even, like, question, like, what they say, they freak out.
Yeah, like...
Even if it's so wrong.
Like, dude, you might, like... You ever think maybe, like, you're wrong? Like, you know, that's
right.
what I be saying to people. And it's hard to admit to yourself, because obviously you feel like it's right.
Like, in your head, like, there are people that are so set. Like, if you get one thing on your mind and you tell someone else and they defy that in any way, you're like, huh, that wasn't supposed to happen, was it? And then they get tight at you. And I know people that are like that, and I'm just like one of my boys, for example, very, like, huge ego.
Okay.
And if you
no names.
No. I love the kid, one of my best friends. He knows he has the ego too. But It's just one of those things where, like, if he's set on something, you can't tell him no.
Okay.
So, he actually he went here.
Okay.
My freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
He was on our flag football team, actually. I don't know if you remember him. I wouldn't name drop him because he's my boy.
No,
Shout out to you, Jake. It's his birthday today.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Jake.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to see this on your birthday, but happy birthday.
Definitely not.
We're recording it on Wednesday, so happy birthday, brother.
Great kid, great mind. Came here freshman year, and then he was like, you know what, I'm going to transfer. He didn't like it here at all. And I was like, all right, like, do that.
Do your thing.
Goes to Colorado for fall of 2020. So it was during COVID.
Okay.
He's like, I don't like it there. Transfers again.
Interesting.
And comes back, and he
Comes back
doesn't
here?
really know. Yes, he comes back here.
Wow.
Doesn't really know what to do, and I think this part kind of gets lost to me, but he's very big on, like, photography and stuff like that and filming.
Okay.
So he was thinking about
Which is
going
awesome, by the way.
right. Like, there was at one point earlier this summer, he was like, I want to go to, like, I think he said Bali or something like that.
That's cool.
And, like, just take a bunch of pictures and, like, send them out to places. And I was like, yeah, go for it. Like, who's gonna tell you no?
No.
Because, like, if you tell him no, he's gonna be like,
No, I gotta do it.
yeah, right. And I believe he wanted, I don't know if he did, I would have to catch up with him on that, but go to LA for film school. And he could definitely do it. Like, he's a very driven guy, and I'm never gonna take that away from him. He did that, I think, and then he came back.
Wow.
And I was like, you really got to set your mind to something. And I think he has now. He ended up going to Maine this semester. And I think he's taking classes on, like, film and stuff there. Okay. I could be totally wrong, though. This is just from my prior knowledge.
It seems like it's tough to keep up with.
It is. It is a little bit. But yeah, to me, like, he just, like, I think he was a little bit lost, but now he's starting to, like, figure out his stuff now.
Yeah.
Great kid, though. I would not, like, I don't mean that in, like, a way. If he were to ever see this, I'm, like, saying, like, oh, this kid's a tool. Yeah. Which he absolutely is not.
No.
But, like,
he's
I
your
think,
friend.
right,
So
exactly. One of my best friends.
Care to know all this stuff about somebody you don't care about.
Exactly. One of my best friends, and I just think for a little bit, it was very confusing to at least me and all my other friends to just be like, so what is his motive here? Like, what is he going to want to do? Because this is not a way to, like, get your life started.
Yeah. It's because when you go to school, like, you kind of feel, I don't know, I kind of felt like I kind of needed to have it. But here's the thing, like, he's so, like, we're young. We can make mistakes at this age.
Right,
you can make so many. This is the time to make your mistakes.
Like, do it now before
go make mistakes
it matters.
Right now. Yeah, for sure. So, you know, like, just living and, you know, obviously been around now, seen a lot of things. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, you have a good wealth of, like, experience, which is, like, better than anything. But, yeah, you're right. Like, just kind of needing a direction.
Right.
Is good. Because I feel like, I was talking to someone the other day, and And they were like, yeah, like I just feel like I really like I know what I'm doing now. I'm like, okay, like
Oh, that's good.
that's
Good for
good.
you,
That's
man.
great. That's great. But in my experience, when I felt like that, when I felt like, oh, I got it, like
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't. When I say
No,
and I mean it in my head, but then
you think you do.
things
then,
come up.
exactly.
Things happen all the time. And so it's when you feel like you got it the most is when sometimes like you're like the most lost.
Mm-hmm.
And like you just like cuz you're just waiting. Sometimes you feel like you're just waiting for the next hurdle. And cuz like a life is just a bunch of just hurdles. You're trying to get over them, do them and all that.
Perfect.
And so like a lot of times when you feel like you got to figure it out, you're like, "All right, what's the next when is shit going to hit the fan now?"
Oh, it's like an inevitable thing. Like,
and that sucks. Knowing
that's definitely the
knowing that it won't always be good can be a dangerous like thought to have. You're just like, oh, like I feel like right now I'm in one of those right now. That's why like it's very like on my mind.
Right.
Like I feel so fucking good. I'm having so much fun.
Right.
I'm doing my
like
podcast.
this is something that you're enjoying.
Oh, I'm enjoying the fucking shit out of it. It's gotten me other opportunities. I get to do things now.
Yeah.
Like I'm helping this other guy with the podcast, or like help with like recording like high school sports. We do like it's basically like Behind the B for the Bruins.
Of course I do.
It's like that, but for high school sports. Like I do one of those now. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. It's so much fun. I get to do that. I get to be with my friends. Live right down the street.
Right.
Other friends I live with. It's like, and then I get to go home with my family. My family's all healthy and like we're happy.
Like
But what's coming?
Exactly. Like what is better than all of that? Like me, like I feel like I'm in the same spot as you. Like I'm happy right now. I'm happy where I am. School's going well. I have great people in my lives. And it's getting to the point where I'm like, what is gonna happen that's just gonna flip this in any sort of way?
Dude?
And like as much as I want to be like nothing. Like there's nothing that's gonna mess this up.
You're trying to live in the moment.
Exactly.
As you should.
Like I don't know, like I have an apartment up here.
Mm-hmm.
I live with 5 girls.
Okay.
Yep.
A lot of girls.
My best friends.
Awesome.
They are amazing people. And like I'm happy living with them. But we're in a tough spot with our apartment right now. Like I guess that could be sort of something that kind of brings me down a little bit.
Yeah, set you for a bit of a loop. Yeah,
right. Because our landlord that's renting us out the apartment is just a freak.
Who is it?
His name's Dylan.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to have our landlord for a second.
But there was, we had a Halloween party one night. This was, I think it was the Friday, the 29th, because Halloween was on a Sunday this year. Mm. It's like 2 in the morning. There's probably like 10 or 11 of us left in my apartment. And granted, there's 6 of us that live there as it is.
Yeah, so it's really just like a normal night almost. Like,
yeah, exactly. So we had 2 girls sitting on our like front steps, and they come up and they're like, "There's police outside," and I'm like, why? Like I understand, like we had probably like 30 people over, but they had left at least like 30 to 45 minutes before the police came. So they come up to our door, and I walk down. This is going to sound weird, but I am the guy. Like, I'm the man of the house because, like, obviously I live with 5 girls. So I walk down, like,
no other dudes in the house? So
there's
the only dude?
Well, we have, obviously, like, our neighbors. But, like, our apartment, like, by itself is just the 6 of us.
Wow.
So I walk down, and I was about to start talking to him. And he's like, "Do you have other roommates here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And so he asked me to get them. And I was like, I don't really see the point in this. But I walk up, get 2 of them. The other one was changing or something. I don't know where she was. But he talks to us, and he's like, well, we got a disturbance call, but it really doesn't sound like it's too loud up there. And I was like, yeah, like we did have people over earlier, if I'm going to be honest with you, but they've all left. There's only like 11 of us in there. And he was like, oh, yeah, we just got a call. For now, just we'll give you a warning. I know you don't want us to come back. We don't want to come back. Have a great night. 30 seconds. Okay. They leave. So we didn't really think much of it. We were just like, well, shit, like the cops came. Yeah. We get a text the next day from our landlord basically saying, I'm so disappointed in you guys. Like, we're like, how does he find out? But I think the tipping point here was he goes, I I've never had to deal with this before. If we get caught again, you're evicted.
Whoa.
Yeah. And initially I was like, what the
What do
fuck?
you mean? What do you mean?
Like, the way I thought of it is, there's 6 of us.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to have our parents up, there's 2 parents for each. There's 18 people.
Yeah.
What if someone calls the police then?
Unlike
What are
you
we
and your
What are we
parents.
gonna tell the police? Oh, I'm sorry, we were having a family dinner with our parents. They go and tell, and he's like, oh, you're evicted for having a party. And it's just like, it all threw us for a loop because this was the first time it had ever happened. And he just was like, I'm so disappointed. Like, if you get caught again, I'm going to evict you. Like, I'm going to call your parents. And we're just like,
Yeah, that's
like,
weird.
Like, we're adults.
That's weird.
We're adults. And he isn't very reliable either. So it just got to the point where we're like, do we really want to live here again?
Probably not. Probably not. It's hard to move though. That's the thing. You don't
Exactly.
Like,
You're
I
not
wouldn't
gonna
want to
find a
leave this
spot.
place. Like no matter
That was
what.
a good
'Cause
spot, too.
It is a good spot. We get no complaints when we have parties. Like nobody says a word. Our neighbors across the street are older.
There's
I don't think they can
nothing
hear
like
anything.
connected to you, right? Like, this
No,
is just your
us.
place.
Just
See,
us.
I wish I was
Which
like
is great.
that.
And then our neighbors there are really cool, and they make some noise themselves. So I
Good.
feel like that we have
Good.
this mutual
I would
agreement
like
of
that.
you can be loud, we can be loud, cool. And then the neighbors behind us are too far away because like you have actually
It was a pretty good gap.
weird amount of
from
gap.
What I
Yeah.
saw.
There's like a street kind of there, so
Yeah.
it's like a good gap. And then to our right is the school. Well, that way is the school.
Yeah.
And obviously we're not throwing parties while the school's in session.
Right.
And so we're the corner house. So we never get complaints. Be honest with you, we're in a perfect situation.
Wish. Like that is such a perfect thing. It's just tough. You know Wilder Street, right?
Yeah.
We are legit the apartments right on the end of Wilder. So like where the gas station is and like
Okay.
Durgan on South, we are right there.
All right.
So below us, like connected because there's 3 floors, we have the top 2. We're 22, and then next to us is 24.
Who do you live with?
I'll name some people. I don't know if you'll know them. I live with Nora Tracy, nursing major. I don't know.
I know the
Jaden.
name.
I don't know if you know.
Because I know
Jaden.
a lot of nursing majors. So I
Yeah,
feel like
exactly.
I know the names.
I know you know a lot of nursing majors, so.
It's like everybody I meet. There's
Exactly.
like 100 of them in my grade. There's thousands of students.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And I know all the nursing.
You
I'm
know
like, wow.
every single nursing.
I know more nursing majors than my own major. I'm not even kidding. Like
Really?
Like I obviously like if I saw someone that's like been in my class, I'd be like,
You'd be like, hey, how you doing?
But like I've met and been introduced to more nursing majors than people of
Right.
my own. Like the marketing, and marketing has got like thousands of kids in it probably.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Massive.
I mean, I feel like it's like that for a lot of people where, like, you know a lot of people, but you don't, like, know them, if you get what I'm like.
Oh, my God,
You
yeah.
know their name, like, hey, I've seen this name before. And I think that's what made COVID so tough.
Yeah.
Because we come in here as freshmen, get our year cut short, and then we spend an entire year online.
Still didn't meet too many people, you know. Like
Exactly.
even in freshman year, like you kind of stick with your group at least for the first. Probably, I remember my sister when I got to college. She was like, She's like, if you like your roommates, that's one thing, but otherwise, like you're probably gonna stick more with the people you know to start, and you'll slowly branch out. Sophomore year is when you really solidify some
Yes.
friends. That's what she told me, at least. That's what happened to her. Like she has a smaller school, mostly girls, so it's a very different experience. But, yeah, that's what she said, and I was like, all right, I'm ready for all that. Some of the only people I met were you guys.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You were like some of the closest I've been, and we weren't. It's not like we didn't even hang out really. Like, you know what I
it
mean?
was
Like
basically
flag
just
football.
flag football, and
we were
that was
teammates,
it.
you know, more than anything.
Exactly, and that was only 2 months.
Yeah, so it's really like, and granted, a bunch of you guys, and like you're all awesome, and like you guys knew each other that way. But like really, some of the only people I met were you guys.
I
And
think you
was
guys are
like,
the only group of guys that I really became like close with.
Yeah, and so
'Cause I didn't really meet a lot of people.
Me neither, and I feel like most, and people don't want to admit it, but I feel like a lot of people are the same exact way. Like, no one really met anybody.
No.
And then a year, like, as you were saying, like year off, basically, you're not gonna meet anybody over Zoom. Really, I met one guy. He came on the podcast over Zoom, but otherwise, like, you don't meet anybody. Now we're back here, and it's a bit of like a weird thing where like, I feel like I should know everybody, but you have to kind of expedite the process.
Exactly.
You know.
And I think the craziest part is, like, I came here this year, and, like, my best friend now I met this year, like, the beginning of this semester. We've been in the same classes, every single class, since freshman year.
Wow.
Did Zoom classes. Like, literally had our cameras on probably at the same time. And I meet her, second day of school, hit it off, and now we're, like, best friends. I'm like, how have we not met before?
Maybe with that extra year, you would have. You probably
Exactly.
with that extra
That's
year,
what I'm saying.
You
And, like,
probably.
I've met so many other people because of her. Like, it's just, like, I don't know. It's crazy to me. Like, I'm happy I have, like, my roommates. I kept in touch with them. I was so lucky that they were, like, live with us. Like, we need another person. I was like, of course. But, like, other than that, I mean, like, Quentin, he was my roommate freshman year.
We love Quentin.
Love him. Great guy.
Amazing guy. Can throw a good, nice, tight spiral, too.
He can whip that thing. It was, like, him and John.
Another great guy.
Exactly. Like, our flag football team. And those were, like, the two main people that I was, like, close with, like, guys-wise. Like, I had my other two roommates. Casey. And then Vanilla was my roommate, too.
Millie Vanilli.
Yeah, exactly.
The GOAT. Best football player I've ever seen.
Oh, my God.
No
Lockdown, dude. Shut down.
Vanilla Island, bro. It's Vanilla Island.
Yeah, exactly. Throw up the X. But, like, I just remember, like, those are the guys I clicked with. And I didn't really get to meet a lot more people. Like, my other friends were girls. Personally, I think freshman year I was held back a little bit. I did have someone at home, like a significant other at home. And I've thought to myself, like, during COVID when that ended, I was like, I cannot wait to get back to school, see my boys, meet new people. But, like, that sense of, like, being held back, that, like, consumed me once COVID started. And, like, being close with those guys, as great as it was, I was like, I want to meet more people.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have that sense freshman year because I'm sure this is talked about a lot on here.
For sure.
But you take it for granted.
You do.
You really do.
That is very common.
And
everyone feels that way.
And you think, like, during the height of COVID, when we're locked down, like, we can't go anywhere. There'd be times, like, I would just be, I don't know, I'd be on, like, games with my boys. And I'd be like, I love this. Like, I'm having so much fun. Like, this is, like, when we were 13 or 14 playing video games. Like, that's peak.
Nostalgia. Peak
right.
Nostalgia.
But as soon as I would get off, I'd be like,
now what?
Like, what do I do? Like, if I was at school, like, maybe I could go see, like, the friends that I've made. But all of that was taken away from us.
You did, and we took it for granted, you know.
Definitely.
And you're right. And you know, often when something's taken away is when you most realize that you've been taking it for granted. It's kind of like, you know, someone like Kobe dies.
Oh,
you know,
that was brutal.
Like, that was brutal. We were still here, but that was brutal.
We were.
You know,
the
like,
first or second day we were back, I think.
It was. I think it was one of the early days back. It was a Sunday. I was playing flag football. No, I was playing. What was I playing? I was playing wiffle ball. I was playing wiffle ball. Sorry about the pipes, by the way.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, I was playing wiffle ball, and yeah, I just remember someone telling me that, but like, and it just really hit me. I was just like, damn. Specifically with someone like Kobe and myself. Obviously, he doesn't know who I am, but
right,
like,
but you're a basketball player.
But I'm a massive basketball fan, and that was someone throughout my childhood I hated because I love the Celtics. And he ruined my Celtics.
The Celtic killer.
He's the Celtic Slayer original. He's the OG Celtic Slayer from my lifetime. So I hated him. You know, obviously I grew up, and like, you know, once he retired, you know, I watched his last game. I watched his last like season basically. I watched him when I watched the Celtics. Became like a fan of some sort, but I never really showed my love because he's a Laker and he's the enemy, and I'm not supposed to like him. And I was very fucking mad at myself when he died. Yeah. I was like, damn, I wasn't appreciating what was here. So that's kind of like a tough thing with something like even just being able to go outside and meet people. Right. Which seems so basic, so common.
It was something that it was an everyday, like, I could do this whenever I want. Why would I have to do it today type of thing?
You need to go meet people. You need to go talk to people. And that's really, like, you know, now that I've really thought about it, this is kind of why I do this. It's like, this is, how often do you go somewhere? I was talking, I think, Andrew maybe about this. Do you go somewhere and the conversation is, like, the goal?
I think this was Andrew.
It-
Because
I think
I
it
feel like
was.
I remember this was something that you talked about. I feel like we were so shut off from other people that normal conversation that was a sense of normalcy when we were, pre-COVID,
Mm-hmm.
we don't really have that anymore.
Mm-mm.
And I think it was you that said this. Like, you want to talk to people, but, like, you don't really want to be like, hi, like, I'm Ethan. What's your major type of thing?
Yeah.
I think you said something
You
like that.
don't want to have the basic convo.
Like, that's dry, and I feel like we don't have, like, what are you doing? Like, come over, like, this type of thing. Like, I'm having people over, like, you want to have a good time, like, bring your friends type of thing. Like, we don't really get that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that part of our lives that was taken away is just always going to be, like, a part of me where it's, like, if I can't, like, conversate normally with people, like, are they going to like me? If I got to have friends?
Yeah. Like, I've, like, had probably more, because, I talk a lot in life in general. But even so, like, think about the quick conversations we'd have, like, at flag football. Probably,
Yeah.
5 minutes? Not even.
Not
less
even.
Than that.
It's like how you doing? Like,
How
you
you
ready
doing?
to kick some ass today type
Yeah,
of thing.
like Titans lost this week or won this week in the beginning.
So
I
it
was
was
like, Titans
typically
won
a
this week.
loss,
How you
but-
doing? Like,
Right.
whatever. Like with the loss, win, whatever I'd ask you. But otherwise, it's basically all you talk about. But like, full, like, hour. Like, hold on. Let's see actually.
Well, what are we at right now?
What do
It's
you think?
flying by.
What do you think?
I'm gonna go. This is like 52:30 right now.
We are at an hour and 6 minutes.
Wow.
Just hit an hour 6. So you're about good.
It's pretty close. I mean, I'm about
Pretty close.
15 minutes off.
Yeah, not
but-
bad at all. It's not. I've heard bad. I've heard like someone say like, oh, probably like 30 minutes. We'd be on for like an hour 20, and I'm like,
But like,
but if
that's
it is
a good
time-
thing. Like,
yeah,
that's
it's
a good
great.
thing for you. Like, this is something where, like, personally, like, I was a little bit nervous coming in. I was like, am I gonna have stuff to talk about?
You'd be shocked.
And I kept, yeah, exactly. And I kept like reassuring myself, like, no, he's so easy to talk to that, like, we'll end up on one topic, and next thing you know, we're on the other side of the earth doing
exactly
another
what
topic.
happens.
And
That's
that
exactly
is
what
exactly
happens.
what's happening.
This is what I do. It's kind of like this is like it's my area of expertise at this point.
But that's what a podcast is all about, and that's
Mhm.
why I've enjoyed listening to your podcast so much. Is it's like you start somewhere, but it's so easy to end up somewhere else.
Oh,
Like,
it's
it's not
just
forced at all.
It's so free. It's like I feel free.
Exactly.
It's like a bird.
That's the
People
way it
are
should
like,
be.
oh, you should make it shorter. You should do this. And listen, I hate to be the guy that like doesn't listen to what the people want. I feel like you're supposed to adapt and learn to what people want. But in the end, I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. So I was like, all right, what's the better sacrifice? Should I sacrifice maybe like blowing up quicker and doing all this stuff quicker, like expediting the process of like making it a big thing, but then I might lose the love for it and stop?
Right.
Or should I just love what I do and just be able to keep doing it for a long period of time? And I think I just decided to do that instead. Like, I know, believe me, and just to everybody, believe me, I know if I made these 30 minutes and I had set questions and I edited and put a lot of cuts in and made it quick and easy and accessible, I know it would be better. Like, believe it would.
You would think it would attract more people.
It would
just
attract more
because, like,
people.
oh, am I really about to take like an hour and like 30 minutes out of my time
Exactly.
to listen to this? Like, granted, there are definitely people that are friends with you. I myself did it for a few of them.
Plenty. Yeah, more than I thought.
I would listen to the whole thing, and
Like-
maybe that's just me, not a narcissist, but I'll probably listen to this whole thing.
I listen to all of them, and I don't feel like it's taxing. I just
No,
listen.
not
It's
at all.
fun to listen back. I hate hearing my own voice. I'll say that.
You and me both. So this is
We all
definitely
do.
be
We
an
all do.
experience.
I think that's something I got to get over. I feel like getting over that would be a big self-esteem thing for me. That would help my
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah.
If I could just figure out, oh, I like the way I sound, or like maybe if I could laugh at a joke I
I mean,
make.
it
on
sounds
this.
good in the headphones. So
Thanks, buddy.
I got you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
course.
it. But yeah, I'd rather make it like this. And I just put out yesterday. I put out like a segment video.
Yeah, you did
And I
about
Certified Lover
Lover
Boy
Boy
versus
and
Donda,
Donda.
because we talked about that for like
Yes.
15 minutes, me and Andy, and I was like, you know what? For people that don't feel like watching an hour, but like this topic, and maybe that could just do well on YouTube itself,
right.
let me just make these. I'll do that. That's fine. I should do that more. But in the end, I would never, like, if I cut this off, like, say I cut us off at 30 minutes, that'd be tragic.
I would just, like, if you cut us off like that, like, as much as I'd be like, all right, like, this is good for him, but I feel like I would have a lot more to say.
Yeah, and people still have a lot to say once I, like, you know, like, it'll go for, like, probably hour and a half, I'd say is the usual amount.
Yeah.
People still feel like they didn't get to say everything.
I could keep going, you know?
And, you know, I don't want that to happen either. But, like, you know, a good hour and a half, like, I feel like that's just a good conversation, you know? It's just
Definitely.
a good conversation. You got everything. And usually, you know, one of them, I think, went, like, for 53 minutes. One of them was, like, 2 hours and 5.
Yeah.
It's a big gap.
Yeah.
And I just stop it whenever it feels like it should be over.
Yeah, and I can understand that. And, like, I feel like that's a good thing, though. Knowing, like, if we end this and I still have stuff to say, like, that's good on your part, you know? Like, you would think, like, do I really have an hour and 30 minutes of conversation to talk about? And you do. Like, you really do.
Everyone does. And they come on, and everyone has that same mindset that you kind of have, just like, like, am I gonna have enough to say? Like, the amount of times people have said that exact sentence to me is shocking. I'm like, yeah, you got plenty, I promise. Like, and, you know, you'd be shocked at what you have, you know?
Like, when you were like, all right, like, come on, like, and I was like, yeah, like, of course. Mm-hmm. I'm pumped. Initially, I'm pumped. But the first thought in the back of my mind was, are you really that interesting to talk for an hour and 30 minutes?
Easily.
And deep down, I was like, yeah, like, you really could talk about the most random
you got
stuff. But, like, the forefront of my mind is like, dude, you're so boring. And I was like, come on, like, I can do it.
You
and
can
like,
do
I look at it now and I'm like, you can talk about anything.
You talk about anything forever, and it just, like, I honestly, one day I might do this if I ever get the equipment, like, that could, like, record for more than, like, an hour and a half, 2 hours, because even sometimes, like, this thing cuts off and I'm like,
oh boy.
But yeah, like, if I ever got something that could record for, like, a long period of time, I might just sit there with, like, 3 friends lined up and just go and see how long we could do it. And I think we'd literally, like, we'd need to stop and eat. Like, we'd, like, you know.
Oh, it would get to the point where you would need something.
I need some nourishment. I need, like,
right.
a nap. Like, you know, like.
But, like, that's fun. If you know you have 3 or 4 people that you could just sit down at a table and just talk.
We could go for, like, 12 hours, me and my friends. You know, like, you know how fun it is to talk to your friends.
Yes,
What's better than friends?
And, like, that's what I mean. Like, when we were in COVID and we were having those times where we couldn't see anyone, there was not a night that my entire friend group wasn't, like, on Xbox.
Oh, so much fun.
We would talk about the most random stuff until, like, 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm a night owl, you know. I finished an essay I had at 4 in the morning this morning. You know, I just, so it's the hours I operate on. So, like, my friends, like, we'd get on, like, we're on really late like that. And, dude, like, obviously, if I could get rid of COVID and I could go back and have it not happen, like,
I would do it.
I would. But, like, it's just, I wish those moments are very important to me, too.
And,
like,
I'm
take
happy.
the good out of it.
I'm happy that we got that. I hate to, like, be that guy that's like, oh, like, COVID was good in a sense. But at the same time, like, there were parts of it that were.
Yeah.
I think, like,
online classes sucked to be in, but my grades were pretty good because the teachers were pretty easy.
I did not have that luxury.
Really?
I struggled mightily
with
physics.
Yes. Physics is hard. It's math.
I never got it down. And, like, I would email my professor. I would stay up until, like, 2 or 3 in the morning making study guides, and it just never clicked.
Hey, sometimes it ain't made for everybody.
It happens, exactly.
It ain't made for everybody. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm in, like, a major, like, business major. Obviously, you know, I do a lot of you know, for someone that's a business major, I do a lot of, like, filming, and I like to write. And, like, you know, for a business major, I feel like I'm not a very business majory guy. You'd think I'd be, like, a creative, like, writing type, or, like, journalism maybe.
You're a very creative guy, though. So, like,
I like
that's why I can see you, like, being like, oh, business major. But at the same time, like, it'll work out.
But I think it's good to have, like, you know, I didn't want to get, like, an art degree or, like, go into, like, acting or something, because I'm like, listen, those are great, and if you're good at them, great, but it's hard to, like, really have any stability that way. So I'm like, all right, let me just figure out how to market myself. let me learn how to make something accessible. Let me learn
Yeah.
what people. It's kind of like psychology, but like that's what marketing is. It's kind of like business psychology.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of just figuring out what people are like and what they do like,
Mm-hmm.
and then giving it to them. So I think that was kind of the key. Is like if I do like I know I might not have a traditional business marketing job, but I will have a job that I got because I had that skill set. That was kind of my thought process going into
No, I can completely see that. And I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people that you look at their personality and their major is the exact opposite of their like
I feel bad for
personality.
those people.
Right.
I'm
And
like, you have a talent or you have a thing about you. You should be this or you love this. Like, go do it.
and like that's the thing, like the people that are like that typically hate their major.
It's
Or like
sad.
they just really don't enjoy what they're doing, and it's sad. But like I'm an exercise science major. I enjoy learning about this stuff as like as difficult as it is sometimes.
Mhm.
It is stuff that I know I will enjoy as much as the little kid in me is like, you're such a bum for not being a baseball player or something like that.
Yeah, you can't
like,
always be a baseball player.
but like you look at the 1% of people that actually become athletes. And as much as like your childhood self is like, yeah, I wish you could have been good. Like I'm happy where I am. Like if
So
I
happy.
end up getting into like a athletic training or physical therapy field, like I'm gonna be like, good job.
Be very content if you were getting the hot towels ready for Derrick Henry coming back in the locker room
Exactly.
at age 38.
Exactly. He
Still
comes
running
in,
the ball 40 times a game.
Exactly. He comes in, dabs
in.
you up, has to sit in an ice bath for 40 minutes
He has
because
to
he can't
fucking
move.
submerge his body in ice.
Oh my God,
They just have to freeze him and then heat him, and they'd replace all his
Oh my
joints with
God.
like
He's gonna
metal.
be a cyborg by
He
the
is
end of
gonna be a
his career.
cyborg. He's gonna be in
He's
a
gonna be
lot of pain.
arthritic.
He is gonna be arthritic for sure. But yeah, hey, you'll have you'll know exactly what to do.
Exactly.
You'll be like, hey, I got this expertise. Like, you'll be able to help these athletes. You'll be around sports. Like,
Right.
It's kind
And
of
that's a lot of fun. Like me being the sports guy that I am. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if a part of me is like, oh, like how cool would it be if I got to work with as like a PT for the Bruins?
Yeah, I think the same thing for like Like, I love basketball. I was like, I'd love to work like as like a broadcaster, because obviously this isn't like what it's about. But like if I got to have like a Celtic on like for like a podcast,
Oh, that'd be so cool.
that'd be so gangster. That'd be the most gangster thing I've ever done. If I had like even if it was someone like Al Horford, like who's very basic. type of
not
human.
really a fan favorite anymore. But
Not anymore. But if I had someone like Al Horford or like even like a Grant Williams, I'd be like, yo,
Oof.
this is fucking sick. Like, this
no,
is
I
awesome.
would definitely be excited if I had someone like that on a podcast.
That's
like
the next
you
step.
started this from probably what, your house.
I was in
right?
my house. Yeah, I was in my basement.
You started it there.
From basement to basement.
Yeah, shifted from basement to a college basement.
Yeah,
How about that?
which is worse.
And
Downgrade. But hey, the wall ain't bad.
hey, it's honestly very
Very
I mean,
dirty,
it's
though.
kind of chipping a little bit when you did that, but
Yeah.
it's pretty aesthetically pleasing background. I'm not gonna lie. I would watch this and I'd be like, is this a background or is this like his actual basement?
Yeah, it is the basement.
And I mean, we got Gandhi giving us words of motivation up here. I love that.
Words of motivation. That was a great gift. This was a
I-
gift. A boy gave it to me. He was like, yo, I got a gift for you. He was like, I'll give it to you like as soon as I get back from like a vacation. I was like, all right, word. 3 weeks later, he calls me. He's like, yo, you around? I was like, yeah. He goes, all right, come to the crib. I got a gift for you. And I was like, all right.
Oh boy.
I came to his house and he whipped this out, and I was like, wow, this is
Honestly, I like that.
it's exactly what I needed.
We have two of those, like these types of things, and one of them is in our living room. It's Kris Jenner with a something in her hand, just giving the peace sign. That one wasn't as funny to me, but we have one up in like our like hallway upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Duncan D's nuts.
Duncan D's nuts.
And I'm pretty sure the bottom of it says America runs on D's nuts. So whoever it was that bought
That's
that
genius.
out of my roommates, that is props. That might be one of the funniest things I've ever
Duncan
seen.
America runs on D's nuts. That is comedy.
I remember seeing it for the first time, and I was like, all right, like, because the Kris Jenner one came in first, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna live in one of these types of places where it's like I'm gonna have no say in anything. No offense to my girls, but
we love you, girls.
yeah,
You're the
exactly.
best.
And I walk upstairs and I see the Dunkin' Donuts thing, and I look at it, I just start dying laughing.
Duncan D's nuts.
It's clever, and I think
It's clever.
The part of me that wasn't expecting it, I think, was what made it so much
Oh
more
yeah, because you see the
enjoyable.
other side, and you're just thinking in your mind like, all right, this is what it's gonna be, and you're just, it's, that's all. That's what comedy is. It's just breaking expectations.
Exactly.
That's why I like someone that does like a lot of. You ever watch Eric Andre?
I have
Like
a few times.
It's fucking just random
Oh
shit.
my god, he's off it every
But it's
single
so
time.
funny because it's just not what you're expecting, and like it's almost like it makes people uncomfortable that watch it, that laugh, because they're like, why am I laughing? But it's really
Right.
just an instinctual reaction to having an expectation like broken. That's why
Yeah.
like puns are funny. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, because it's supposed to be this, and you're so used to something being that way
Mhm.
that when it kind of has a little twist to it, just like you just laugh.
Yeah.
And it makes people uncomfortable.
I think that's what the best part of it was, because at the time they were talking about getting like I think it was like a Nicki Minaj tapestry or something like that,
So
and
you're
I was
going up
like,
there
I was
expecting
like,
some
I was
cheeks.
like, oh no, like, all right, like obviously, like, I was like, I mean, all right, like,
There's
I guess
pros
it'll
and
work.
cons to
There's
this.
pros and cons, but I walk upstairs and I see that, and I was like, perfect. Like,
This is
so perfect.
this is the vibe I want. in the
Exactly.
crib. So you guys live. It's an apartment. Do you live like above, below, like?
So, I live. So there's 3 floors. We have the bottom floor, which are they're graduated. Like they live there. It's not. It says student housing on the front, but below us, they're like, I think they're like 27 or 28 years old.
Wow.
They have a dog, but they're great. Okay. So great. Like they encourage us to have parties.
Oh, dude,
which is
because
awesome.
they're fresh removed. They know.
Right.
They know.
So then above that is like our second floor, which is where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bathroom right next to the kitchen and like our living room. So I'm the only one that lives on like the second floor. And then the third floor, our upstairs, is Nora and Jaden live in one room. Then Kirsten, I don't know if you know Kirsten.
I don't think so.
She has a single.
Okay.
And then it's really long, but you go down the hallway, left, still hallway, right, still the same hallway.
Wow.
Bathroom, and then my other 2 roommates, Jill and Julia, live.
Long hallway.
It's sneaky long.
I'm trying to think of what you could do with a long hallway like that.
I mean,
There's opportunity there.
part of
When
me like
something's unique, there's opportunity.
the first time I saw it, I was like, this would be perfect for like knee hockey.
Yeah.
I was like,
Knee hockey.
I was like, I don't know. I mean,
So you have a floor to yourself, kind of?
yeah, I think that was my selling point. Because I mean, what guy's mom is gonna be like? Oh, you're gonna live with 5 girls? And granted, at the time, I was like a little skeptical about it, but the selling point to me was the fact that I like had my own floor. And granted, even if I lived on the same floor with
So
them,
you so how big is this floor?
oh, it's a decent size.
Is it like my floor upstairs, kind
Yeah, honestly,
of? To yourself?
basically.
That's fucking awesome.
So you walk in the front.
That is so cool.
You walk in the front door, and to the left we have a massive living room.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then right to the right of the door is my room, which granted can be a little. They go out a lot.
Yeah.
I love it. Like. there are times when like, I think it was after the A Boogie concert, I was asleep by like 1. I was beat.
Yeah.
They go out, I think it was to El Jefe, because a lot of people went there after A Boogie, and they come back at like 3.
Wasted.
Mind you, this
Maybe not wasted. They had sugar highs. They're not of age yet.
right.
So obviously they
Right.
had a lot.
No,
of
they
ice cream.
they had a ton of energy. Let's
ton
just
of
say
energy. 5-hour energy,
And, like,
maybe. Yeah. With
Granted, like this was no less than 5 days after our landlord was like, you'll be evicted if you get caught again. They're coming in and they're screaming and shit, and I'm just in my bed and I'm like, I mean, I guess I can't fault them, but like as much as I would love to sleep right now, that's really not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it's tough because the floor above me, really thin.
Wow.
So like if you decided to book it down like that hallway upstairs,
You know.
she like keep smoking it.
I keep smoking.
If you were to book it down my hallway, from my room, it would literally sound like elephants just trampling people. Like, it's like stomping, and I'm just like, wow, that's really not.
Like, do
Yeah,
I
exactly.
need a carpet right now?
Like, my mom wanted my apartment to be perfect. So she was just handing me stuff before I left. She's like, here, take this long rug. And I was like, all right, like, the girls are definitely not going to want this. So I bring it upstairs. Perfect. Perfect length for the long hallway. They loved it. And I was like, I called my mom and I was like,
Get more shit.
I was like, yeah. I was like, you got anything else I can have? They're really digging it. And I was like, if this was like, I feel like I'm kind of decorating too. Like, you would think all the decorating stuff would be for the girls, but I mean, I came in, gave them the rug.
I gave him the rug, gave him the couch. Like,
Yeah, we actually bought the
TV
couch
stand.
ourselves. I should have brought my TV, cause like, not that our TV's bad, but like, the one that I have in my room is probably like 26 inches.
Wow.
So I'm just like if I'm playing video games, I'm just kind of looking at it like this, cause my eyesight is god awful.
Yeah, I got good eyes, so it don't really matter for me. But yeah, I can imagine like, I sleep like a fucking rock. Like I sleep really late, so it doesn't really matter anyway. It's not like people are really up. But and waking up to someone doing something at 10 a.m. isn't really a bad thing.
No,
Like,
not at all. I mean, it's 10 a.m.
It's just hard for me to like wake up. I just can't wake up.
You look at it and you're like, oh, I just got 6 hours of sleep, but it's 10 a.m.
Yeah, so I should probably be up right now.
Exactly.
So but I sleep like a fucking rock. Like you could, I remember, I forget what happened, like, but I remember waking up one morning and looking at like me and my roommates and the kids down the street got like a Snapchat group chat, and just looking at it and like some fuckery was like I woke up at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe 1, and I got a bunch of looking at all these Snapchats. There was some fuckery going on in like the floor beneath me. I'm on the like the second floor.
Yeah.
And I got a really small room. It's the smallest room like maybe in the entire city of Lowell. It's a very small room. And I'm sleeping and I wake up, I see all these fucking Snapchat stories. They went to like BK, they went to breakfast already. They already like had like the whole day of activity.
Jeez.
They're like yelling at each other in these videos. It's really funny shit, but like they're like yelling and like they're like dancing, like a chair falls and they're playing music on my speaker, like really nice, like loud music.
Who do you live with?
I live with
You live with Alexa, right?
I live with Alexa.
Yeah.
But, you know, Alexa can get loud.
Oh, most definitely.
Do you know Liana?
I don't.
Do you know Dan Graham?
I know Dan Graham.
He's over there.
Love Dan.
And, you know Kate, his girlfriend? They're all, I'm telling you.
Yeah, they're exercise science. If that's
Liana's
the girl he's always
exercise
sitting
science,
with, then yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's also sitting with probably Liana a good amount of the time.
Okay.
If you don't know her yet, but you'd meet her at some point. She's exercise science as well.
Mm.
But yeah, they're not like even like crazy people. They just had a wild day.
Oh,
By the
yeah.
time I woke up, and like it was like I look at my phone. I'm just looking at all the shit that happened. I'm like, did I really fucking sleep through?
You slept through all of that. That's heavy.
I'm different. I don't think I've ever woken up. Like I don't remember a time in my life where unless someone entered my room or someone knocked on my door, like I've never woken up. Even my alarm, like I have to set like 4 of them bitches because like
Oh, I believe it.
I'm heavy. I guess I'm just really in it.
Part of me thinks I'm heavy, but at the same time, I'm really not. I think right as I fall asleep, like when I'm out. Like I'm heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as the night goes on, it just gets lighter and lighter, and like the slightest like movement or sound will like wake me up, and I'm like,
Yeah, I think I might be the opposite. If I'm not, because I had this issue the other day. I was up till like 8 a.m. It was bad, but I wasn't up till 8 a.m. like naturally. I was trying to fall asleep. I went to bed at like 1:30, which is early for me. I was so proud of myself.
yeah.
Laying there, and I thought I fell asleep. I was like, like sometimes your eyes are closed for so long. You're laying there for so long.
And
you don't really know. You don't know what time it is. Like, and I thought I was sleeping. I like opened my eyes again, like thinking I may have fell asleep. I didn't know what was going on. Like I was right on the edge of glory, I think. And I look at my TV screen and I play like, Bob Ross.
Of course.
I play some Bob Ross. It puts me right to sleep.
Smart man.
So I play some Bob Ross and I'm looking. He's on the same fucking Peyton. It was like 5 minutes, and I was like, I thought it was like 5 hours later or something. I didn't know what was going on, and I was like, damn, it's only been 5 minutes. I was trying to get back to sleep. Wasn't happening. 2 hours. I just laid in my bed with my eyes closed, and I was like,
It's not
It's
happening.
just not happening. It's just not gonna work.
That's the worst.
I went back downstairs, started playing Rocket League. Like I was like, it ain't happening. Let me get the
Well,
diamonds.
you tried it. You might as well.
I tried, you know.
I feel like that's something. It would happen to me, especially during COVID. I would go to bed at like 3 or 4 in the morning every night, and the nights that I would try and go to bed at just a reasonable hour, like 12:30 or 1.
For me, it's even
would
like
not happen.
2. Like even at 2, I struggle now.
Yeah.
It's bad. Like, and next semester, my classes, my earliest class, the earliest one I have,
Oh gosh.
2 p.m.
Oh Lord, that's perfect for you then.
You'd think, but I kind of feel like I need the nudge, you know? Like I need an earlier class so I'm not a bum.
Yeah.
People, but here's my my last thing about this though. People might look at me, right? And they're like, like you're up till like 5, right? You wake up at like 12. You're kind of like wasting your days.
Right. I can see that.
Here's what I think. 5 to 12 is like a 7-hour sleep.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes it's a little less than that. Sometimes I don't get a lot of sleep, if any at all. But usually I'd say 6 hours is average. And last night I did my paper till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
That still is like viable work time. I get plenty of my editing done at that time. No disturbances.
Yeah.
I got like attention issues, so like I can't have like too much going on. Like I need to just be locked in with me, my music, and my work. So when everyone's sleeping, it's a perfect time. I'm getting all my work done. I'm really living the same life as everybody else, just like 6 hours.
Just a different time.
So
Yeah, exactly. There's no difference. There's no difference.
Why do we just feel the need to like do what the sun says? I'll get up when I want to be up, not when the sun says.
Never heard someone say that, but it's very like.
It's the same thing.
Right.
Aren't I doing the same thing? You know.
You are. You absolutely are. It's just,
I think so. Tell me if I'm wrong though, Ethan.
no,
Am I wrong?
You absolutely are not. Like the way that you put that is perfect. Like you're doing the same stuff, just at different times. You're living the same life that everyone else would. It's just it doesn't matter when the sun is up or it's down.
No one cares about the fact that we have time zones. Someone in California is living the same life as me.
Right.
And it's like 12 a.m. Or like, with a 6-hour time difference. I'm trying to think like the other way. Maybe like Japan. Someone in like Japan and me have the same, we're like together. Me and the Japanese. Or maybe not Japanese. Maybe like Hawaii. Like,
Hawaii, I believe, is 6 to 8 behind us.
Perfect. Me and Hawaii. Me and the Hawaiians got the perfect. Actually, I remember. You're right. I think you're right because my roommate Haley, I don't know if you know Haley, but she went to Hawaii over the summer.
Oh, yeah?
And, like, I always knew her. We were always, like, friends, but, like, we got close during that time because she was in Hawaii. And, like, when something would happen, she'd text me. And it would be 3 a.m. here. And I'm up. No one else is up. So she'd hit me.
She's eating dinner.
But for her, it's, like, 9. So, like, so she's, like, just about to go to sleep. So she texts me at 9. I'm texting her at, like, 4 a.m. And it was, like, the perfect, like, we were able to, like, kind of get to know each other a little bit better just because, like, it was perfect timing. I was literally 6 hours in the past.
That's crazy.
It's dope, dude. It's a weird life I live.
Time. It's a weird concept.
Who needs it? We made it up.
You did. And, I mean, I feel like, especially in this case, like, if you're doing something that you enjoy, time is not a concept at all.
At all. Time is weird. And it's experience, like, I feel like it's a very common thing. Like, it's experience different for different people.
Definitely.
Like, you're doing something that's boring.
It's
like
going to
it
go
takes a long time.
slow.
You're doing something that's fun. Time fucking flies.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we also, it's just numbers and, like, a clock.
Yeah.
And, like, if, like, obviously you need to have some sort of scheduling so everyone knows, like, when to be at work or when we're doing a project together, all this stuff. Like, that's not saying, like, get rid of time. But, like, if you have a schedule, if you live a life where you don't really need to do that, when you can do things when you want, then, like, just don't worry about it. Just sleep when you feel tired. Mm-hmm. Wake up when you wake up. Do your work when you're motivated. Don't do it when you feel like doing nothing and sitting on your hands playing Xbox.
Yes, exactly.
Simple concept.
Like, I couldn't put it differently. Like, you look at time, and, like, if you're with someone or doing something that, like, you like, you'll realize time just doesn't, like, exist. Like, there have been times this semester where I've been, like, doing, like, homework or, like, where time goes so slow because I'm not enjoying it. But like if I'm like at a party or something or like with my friends hanging out, it'll be 11:50 right now, and I look at the clock 2 minutes later and it's 1:30 type of thing. And you just look at it and you're like, that's fake.
It's fake.
There's no way that that's even like remotely possible.
It almost feels like a void. It feels like it's like time just kind of disappeared, you know?
That makes me think. You ever driving? And
then like
you just
I know exactly what you're going to say right now.
So, say like you're on the highway or something and like you're just super focused or like you're vibing to music and you like snap out of it and like you realize you're driving again.
Bro, like,
and you're like, how the fuck did I get here without crashing?
Like, I don't even remember.
Like, I don't know how.
Sometimes that happens to me when I'm walking too. Like, I walk to class a lot.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, how did I get to this point? Like, you just snap in. You don't remember like being out. You just snap in.
Like, you never go out. You just snap back to reality, and you're like,
damn, I just hit fucking autopilot for a long
exactly.
time, dude. It's like you're basically like sleepwalking. I don't know. Like there's like turns, and sometimes like I'll get at the end of a ride, I'll get home, and I'm like, how the fuck did I just get home just now? Like I'll snap in as I park the car, and I'm like,
did I drive here?
Like, bro, like, this is fucking weird. And so that's another thing. Like,
I
the time, like it passed. Time passed. Obviously, like you got older. Like everything, like I guess, like that hour went on. It happened. But since like, real intricate concept here. But time is like just an unraveling thing. But it's all kind of happening at once. Like, the future, in a way, has already happened. It's weird to think. You understand? It sounds like, so I don't gotta explain it. But future's already happened. The past is happening. It's all happening right now.
Like, part of me thinks, like, I don't know. Like, I've always said this to myself, and I've always had, like, family tell me this. But everything in your life happens for a reason.
For sure.
And, like, every single part of me wants to think, like, is there some being, some life form that has seen my life and is like watching it unfold, like they know what's gonna happen next,
like a god,
right?
Or something like that.
And like I think of that, and I'm like, this being knows what's gonna happen today. Like, I could win the lottery today, but they already knew that, or I could, I don't know, get in a car accident. They already knew that. If you think
about it, time kind of is that. Like time knows, or maybe I guess it's space time, because like again we kind of were saying like the futures are happening right now, the past happening right now. It's all happening at the same time always. Like, so it's kind of already laid out there for. That's what destiny is. It's kind of like already laid out there for you. So it's kind of like time is just showing you how things are gonna go, and like it's already kind of like
it's already happening.
Like it's already happening. It's gonna happen. That's kind of how I have an assignment due on Friday, and it's like, let's write a lot of pages. And I was like, you know what feels good about this? I'm a good student, so I know it's getting done. It will be done by Friday, you know? And that's the only point of, like, solace for me. I know I have a lot of work to do, but I know it will be done. And that's, like, the point that I'm, like...
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. Instead of thinking about the work, you know, I'm a very positive person.
Yes, I can
very
well see that.
A lot of people aren't, and I think, so I try to, like, kind of give, like, I guess pointers and, like, how I keep myself positive, because I feel like everyone should be happier. And, like, that's one thing I always do. So people are very much stuck in, you know, and you're supposed to live in the moment and do what you're supposed to do. But if it's a bad moment, you know what I mean?
You don't want to be in that moment anymore.
You don't want to dwell on it. Don't dwell on that. So just think about, like, oh, I'll be done with this. I'm so excited to be done with this.
It'll pass.
It'll pass, and it will pass swiftly. So the time is coming. Yeah. You know, and so you just it helps me get through my work faster if I just know, like,
that's a good way to think.
It's getting done. It is getting done. It is done.
It'll end at some point.
That's where I come from.
I don't know. You ever seen Final Destination? You ever seen those movies?
No.
So Final Destination is basically like a person has like a premonition of the future. Whoa. And it's like a horrific accident happens. Like one of them is a plane.
Okay.
And these people I'll try and sum it up as best I can. These people, like their friends, they die in order. But he snaps out of it right before he dies in like the premonition and basically tells everyone not to get on the plane. So the people that listen to him don't die. But they show in the background their plane taking off, it goes up and explodes. And the whole premise of the movie is these, I'll say it's like 7 people. These 7 people escape death. So now death is hunting them down for their inevitable death. Wow. And they die in order that they die on the plane, and you can't stop it.
So like, they just die while the plane is exploding and falling, and then they just die anyway.
So,
wow,
like later in the movie, like
that's cool.
Say like the first person that dies on the plane, like one chick like goes home, and death is like their like signature way to show that like death is near is like the wind blows like super like brisk, but they die in such weird ways. Like they build it up like one chick's house catches on fire, and you're like, oh, like this fire is gonna kill her, and stuff starts to unfold. She's like trying to stop the fire, and stuff starts exploding. You're like, oh, this one of these explosions is gonna kill her.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. They're trying to play you, and she's gonna die because, like, that's what like death wants.
Death is there,
right? But the way she dies is like she's getting out of the house, and she like trips over the rug, and there's a knife on the ground and goes through her head.
Wow.
And it's like
that's gruesome.
You're like, yeah, they're very gross movies. Like, and you think you're like, what is happening?
Why do they do that?
That's the thing. I don't know. Like the main like character that like has like the premonition is trying to stop everyone from dying. He knows what happens, like how they die, but he tries all like he can to stop them from doing whatever leads up to their death. Like there's another example. This is one that I know for a fact I can recall. One kid is at the dentist.
Okay.
Big glass window. It's a huge skyscraper, and he's leaned back in his chair, and he's got like the cranks in his mouth, so his mouth's wide open, and like a bunch of birds start hitting the window, and like the room is shaking. Mm-hmm. The doctor ends up leaving the room, or like the dentist, I should say, as his mouth's open, and all of a sudden like another seagull bangs into like the window. And one of he had like fish floating around on the top, and a puffer fish, like it's like fake, lands right in his mouth, and he's like, he can't breathe because his mouth is like, oh, you're like, oh, he's gonna die, and this stupid thing is gonna kill him.
And he dies from a puffer fish.
But the dentist comes in.
What the fuck?
It's crazy. The dentist comes in, takes it out of his mouth, and he's fine. And you're like, oh, good, like he's gonna survive. As soon as he walks out the door, the people that were working on the skyscraper drop a plate of glass, and it crushes them. And,
why do they do it like that?
Right, and you think you're out of the water, and then boom, this happens, and you're like, why does that happen?
I wonder why they do it like that.
They're honestly like as like cheesy and
stuff.
like fake as they are, they're good watches. I think
that's interesting. I may have to watch
5 or 6. Another one's coming out next year.
Really? I didn't even know these things existed.
Yeah, they're.
What are they called again?
Final Destination.
Final Destination.
And like the stuff
death is the final destination.
Yes. So like there's a plane one, there's like some like car accident one, there's a roller coaster one.
Is it the same guy in all these movies?
No. Because they all die.
Oh yeah, you're right. They die.
But like the main character in each movie dies in the dumbest ways.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Except for one girl. I can't really spoil it. I might though. It's because it's really not that big of a deal. But the original girl, like, protagonist in the first movie makes it to the second one and is, like, basically kept in, like, an insane asylum. But she ends up dying. Because the girl that has the next premonition, the next main character, takes her out and is like, you need to help me. And in the process, she dies.
When death's coming, Death, I mean, it's gonna happen.
Right.
That's a certainty. It will. There's three certainties in this world.
Can't cheat death.
There's death, taxes, and that TO will be open. No, who is
No,
it? Chad
no,
Johnson.
you're not wrong.
Is it? It's Ocho Cinco. Who said that? Was it Ocho Cinco that said that? There's three
I think it was
guarantees
him.
tonight.
I think it was
Death,
him.
taxes, and
And
84
I'm
gonna be open.
Yeah.
Or 85 gonna be open. That's crazy. Great thing to say, by the way. I still say
Such
that.
a goat nickname.
I know, right? And then, but yeah, like I guess it is certainty, but you know, we gotta live it up while we're here. And I guess like that's kind of like a good, maybe I don't know if that's like the direction like a director's going in with that, but it's like showing that. I'm assuming these people are dumb stressed out, like trying to avoid death.
Oh my God,
A life avoiding death is not worth it because it's bound to happen.
Not
And
at
I think
all.
that's kind of what this guy's trying to get at. Death is bound, so don't worry about it because it's going to happen. Live your life to the fullest while you're here.
You cheated death. That's not allowed.
It's not allowed. You're
It's
gonna
gonna
die.
happen at some point. And if you're running from it the whole time, like if I know I'm gonna die, like soon, or like I know death is like after me, just let it happen.
Like you're gonna die.
Exactly.
So and it's a good metaphor for life. You're gonna die. So just live while you're here. If like the best way to not beat death, but best way to like be okay with death is to know you lived.
Right. Accept your life. Like be like this was a good time while I was here.
J. Cole said, "Love yours."
He did.
He said, "Love yours." Great song, great lyrics, and I love those lyrics. It's like you might not have the nicest car. There's gonna be a nicer house. There's gonna be better
Be
things.
nice with everything.
But as long as you love what you have,
And you're content with.
no one can be happier than you. You can envy someone at like a lower position.
He's a
which
genius.
is a beautiful thing. All right, well, Ethan.
All right. Wow.
How much time we at? Hold on. Hour 46, my friend.
Wow. That's
Long
pretty
time.
unbelievable.
Good. It's a good one.
It goes by fast.
It does. It does. Honestly, this isn't even like that long of one. Like sometimes they go for 2. I've had like 2 go for 2. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, how would you feel about your experience? How did you feel like it went?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
It honestly exceeded my expectations. You
Exceeded.
make it so easy to just talk, and we don't talk about boring stuff.
No, it's fun
Not at
things.
all.
It's movies. It's bowling. It's sports.
Bowling.
It's like it's the things you love, and like will everyone love it? No, because not
Probably.
everyone has the same interests. But people will that have these interests will love to hear about them.
Exactly.
That's kind of the goal. So you enjoyed yourself?
Definitely.
All right.
I
Well,
would love to
Ethan?
be back if you ever need me back.
Oh, I will. I will plan on going through the cycle as getting as far as I can, getting people back without getting someone back, and then people like you, people that like want to be back on, will be the first people I have back.
Awesome.
When it's time to come back through.
Time of my life.
So yeah, peace out, people. Very good job, Ethan.